Hi, third graders. I'm in a different spot today. I am recording this video after my daughters are asleep, so I can't be up in the playroom because that would keep Junie awake. So I'm actually recording in my dining room in front of the chalkboard wall. You can see the list of projects that we're working on in my family. And I also have that this is a reading lesson that we're going to be doing and a chart to add on to as I go through the lesson. So welcome to our read aloud. I'm going to be reading aloud from a book on epic books. The book that I'm reading is a nonfiction book about climate. It's called What is Climate? And what I'm really going to be focusing on in this read aloud is thinking about text features. We started talking about text features a little bit before school was closed. And in my class, we were doing it in the Morning Meals Around the World book. A text feature is basically any part of a text or a book that isn't the main body of the text. So in Morning Meals Around the World, we talked about how the table of contents is a text feature. We talked about how the blurb on the back of a book is a text feature, how you can use the pictures in a book as a text feature. They're kind of like the extra parts of a text. Oh, that means that the oven's ready to put cookies in. They're like the extra parts of a text that help you understand more of what the text is telling you. So we're going to be looking especially at text features in this book, What is Climate? And I'll use my mouse to kind of circle different things as I want to talk about them. There will be certain points throughout the reading that I'll ask you to stop and think about the text features. And when I do that, I'll hold this little sign up to the screen, and there are two questions on it. What is a text feature on this page, and how does it help me understand what I'm reading? So when I hold this up, I'd love for you to think about those questions, and it would be really awesome if you actually say your thoughts out loud, either to a family member, a pet, or a stuffed animal, or an invisible person standing next to you, just because saying our thoughts out loud really help us add on to our ideas and just think them through in a really powerful way. Okay, I think that's it. I'm going to start reading. At the end of this reading, I will let you know about an activity that I would like you to do about text features. Okay, so this is called What is Climate? And I'm just going to go ahead and read the blurb, which is a text feature, to give me an idea of what I'm going to learn about. By Ellen Lawrence. Focusing on temperature, precipitation, and other factors, this book uses real-life examples to explain what climate is to young readers. Okay. Welcome to Death Valley. Oh, interesting. This book does not have a table of contents. Okay. Welcome to Death Valley. It is summer in Death Valley, California. There has been no rain for months, and it is very hot. The weather is not unusual, however. Death Valley is part of a desert. Its climate has been hot and dry for thousands of years. Okay, so there are a few text features that are jumping out at me already. One is the chapter heading, which I forgot to read. I'm really bad at that. That's something I constantly have to be working on when I read nonfiction. So this chapter heading says, Welcome to Death Valley. So already that helps me understand that I'm going to be reading about something called Death Valley in these pages. I'm also noticing a text feature here is a label for this picture in the background. The picture is also a text feature. And another thing I noticed is that some of the words are bolded. So those help me understand that desert is an important word. And I'm thinking that this word desert is bolded and it's an important word because maybe a desert is a type of climate. So having this word bolded helps me understand what I'm reading because it lets me know what one of the climates is and that I need to pay attention to that climate. Okay, I'm going to go on to the next page, and I'm going to, just like I did on these pages, I'm going to read the page, and then I'll stop and think about some of the text features and how they helped me understand what I was reading. Weather and climate. So is weather the same thing as climate? No, Weather is what happens in one place on a single day or over a few days or weeks. When it rains or snows, people say the weather is wet. When it is very warm outside, people say the weather is hot. Climate, on the other hand, is the type of weather a place has 30 or over 30 or more years. For example, people say Death Valley has a desert climate. Okay, and then I'm going to look at this little pop-out box here. It's not part of the main body of the text, but I still need to read it because it might give me important information. It says temperature, how hot or cold it is outside, is measured with a thermometer. On a cold winter day, a thermometer might show a temperature of 32 degrees, 0 degrees Celsius. On a hot summer day, it might show 86 degrees Fahrenheit. And then there's two pictures, one of a thermometer and the label says a cold day, and one of a thermometer and the label says a hot day. Okay, so this little pop-out box here, that text feature, it helps me understand what I'm reading because it tells me something important about how to measure the weather, the temperature, which feels like it's part of the weather and part of the climate. So it's almost like one part of weather and climate. And then here's a picture of hot, sunny weather and a picture of cold, snowy weather. So these pictures are also text features and they help me understand what I'm reading because they just help me visualize some of the different weathers that this page is talking about, help me create that picture in my mind. Okay, so I'm going to pause for a minute because I've already talked about a whole bunch of text features and I want to make sure I write them down. So I've talked about pictures. Turn a little bit because I can't write backwards like that. Pictures of photos are one text feature. Labels is another text feature we've talked about. Pop-out boxes is what I call one of those text features. And then chapter headings. Okay. I'm going to do one more page where I think about the text features. And then the page after that, I'd like you to do some of the thinking, what you notice about the text features on those pages. All right. So this chapter heading is figuring out climate. So that tells me maybe on this page, I'm going to learn about how scientists figure out what a climate is. To figure out what type of climate a place has, scientists look at many years of weather records. The records include daily temperatures and how much precipitation fell, if any. Over 30 years, scientists may find that one area usually has hot summers and snowy winters. Another area might be hot all year with very little rain. So this picture, the caption here is a little more than labels because it's an actual full sentence to describe what's happening in the picture. And it says, New York has cold, snowy winters. And then for this picture over here, this caption says, scientists who study climate are called climatologists. Okay, so this caption doesn't help me figure out this picture. This is more of like a pop-out box to just tell me about what scientists who study climate are called. And then this little pop-out box here says, describe your area's usual weather during each season. For example, you might say, summer is hot and dry. Then continue by describing the weather in the other seasons. Oh, okay. So if I'm thinking about Seattle, I might say, well, usually summer is pretty hot. It's mostly dry, but then in the fall and through the winter, it gets really rainy. Never gets super duper duper cold, but it's definitely colder and gray and rainy. And so this text feature, it's kind of a different one than what I've seen before. It's a pop-out box, but it has me really think about my own climate and the weather patterns that I observe in the climate that I live in. And that helps me understand what I'm reading by really making me apply it to my own life and the place where I live. Kind of liked that. Some other text features that I noticed on this page were the chapter heading that helped me think about what I was about to learn on the page. And this little pop-out box here, this helped me understand what I'm reading by giving me some vocabulary and letting me know a special word for scientists who study climate. Okay, so on the next page, I'm going to read it aloud, and then I'm going to ask you to stop and think about the text features that you notice. It's okay if you don't know the exact name of them. You can kind of give it your own name, like I called these pop-out boxes. And think a little bit about how those text features help you understand what you're reading. All right, so this page is called Cold, Hot, Wet, or Dry. There are many different types of climate. Some areas have a cold climate, while others have a hot climate. Some places get lots of rain, while others get almost none. Climate is what makes some places deserts and others rainforests. In a hot place with so little rain that it's hard for plants to grow, a desert develops. In a hot, very wet climate that is just right for plants, a rainforest grows. I'm just going to read you this pop-out box over here. Wild animals have bodies that are right for the climate in which they live. Animals that live in cold climates, such as polar bears, have very thick fur to keep them warm. This label says polar bear, and this label says rainforest. Okay, so just stop for a moment and think to yourself, what is a text feature? I'm having a really hard time lining up the signs. Sorry, guys. What is a text feature on this page? And how does it help me understand what I'm reading? Think those things to yourselves and then try to talk them to someone or just to an invisible person or a stuffy next to you. So maybe you were thinking something like, I'm going to try a little drawing tool here. This picture here of the rainforest is a text feature. And maybe you said something like, this picture helps me understand what I'm reading because it helps me picture what one of the climates is. Okay. Oh, I have to erase the whole line. Maybe you talked about a different text feature on this page. All right, let's read another page and think about the text features on it. A tropical climate. A hot, wet climate is called a tropical climate. In these places, the temperature may stay around 80 degrees, 27 degrees Celsius, for most of the year. About 75 to 100 inches, 191 to 254 centimeters of rain may fall every year too. The Amazon rainforest in South America has a tropical climate. About 40,000 different types of trees and other plants grow there. Rainforests are good places for animals to live because they offer shelter and plenty to eat. Over 2 million different types of insects live in the Amazon rainforest. This Amazon rainforest insect is called a spiny katydid, a macaw eating palm tree fruit. Okay, so I'm going to stop again, pause again. Oh, nope, go back. And just have you think, what is a text feature on this page? And how does it help me understand what I'm reading? All right, so maybe you said something like, well, this pop-out box is a text feature and it helps me understand because it describes what one of the climates is and what types of animals live there. Okay, now go ahead and erase that. So next I'm just going to kind of check my text features list and see if I can add any new text features onto that. Okay, so I had pictures or photos, labels, pop-out boxes, chapter headings. I've also talked about captions. Oh, and then bolded words also. Okay, let's read one more page. A hot desert climate. In a hot desert climate, the temperature may reach 120 degrees Fahrenheit, 49 degrees Celsius, or hotter. It is so dry that it might not rain for months. As a result, plants and animals have to find ways to make water last longer. Barrel cactuses can soak up enough water from a good rain to stay alive for several years. Many animals, such as the desert tortoise, live underground to avoid the daytime sun. They leave their homes to find food at night when it's cooler. This label here says a barrel cactus. And there's a label here too that has an arrow attached to it that says entrance to underground home. And oh, okay, so this must be the desert tortoise coming out from its underground home. And this pop-out box says a desert is a place that's very dry because it gets less than 10 inches, 25 centimeters of rain or snow in a year. Some deserts are hot and dry while others are cold and dry. And then this box says, in what ways is a desert climate like the climate where you live? In what ways is it different? Okay, so I'm going to stop the read aloud there. This book is available on Epic Books, so if you would like to finish reading it on your own, you may do that. Also, if you have logged on to Epic Books, to your account on Epic Books, you'll find that I sent you a collection of nonfiction books. And what I would like you to do is read through some of those nonfiction books that look interesting to you, maybe 2 or 3, more than that if you want to, and do kind of like what I did, go on a text features hunt. Make a list of as many text features as you can find. If you use the worksheet that I provided, there are a list of some example text features that you can start looking for, but you can find your own also. They don't need to be a part of that list. Once you have finished creating your list and going on your text features hunt, I would like you to choose one of those text features and describe it a little bit, and then explain how that text feature helped you understand what you were reading. Okay, so that's your assignment. That is also in the, I'm going to show you here, reading folder on Schoology. It says text features hunt. So if you click on that, it will describe the assignment again. And there's a worksheet that you can use, or a worksheet that you can copy if you don't have a printer. Okay, I really enjoyed reading that book to you. I hope you enjoyed listening. I really enjoyed talking about text features, and I can't wait to see what text features you find in your nonfiction books as well. All right, thanks guys. See you later.